Three mere mortals discover their ability to create entire universes with their minds alone. Upon discovering their abilities, these three, gods if you will, join forces to create the Dark and Stormy Nights, a supercharged team of creatives with the aim of helping artists and writers around the world while combating the forces of boredom and mundanity. They are the Dark and Stormy Nights. This is the Dark and Stormy Nights antagonist episode. We are here to talk about the villains today. I don't know why they have a German or Austrian accent. They're always bad guys and Die Hard.
You were going between Russian and German.
Yeah, that was...
I will call it what I want. Shut it. So we have, and I always like a large toolbox of bad guys, and we have chosen, I think, a decent toolbox of bad guys, and not all of the antagonists are intentional antagonists or mean to be antagonists. You know, they're just what they are.
Victims of circumstance.
Right, because our protagonists in career choice are exterminators.
Right.
Paranormal exterminators. And, but you know what? For the most part, humane, right? When they can be.
I think so, sure. And especially seeing as the fact they have a shifter on their team. I mean, there's some sympathy there.
However...
Well, humane extends to humanity. I mean, vampires are basically roaches.
Oh, no,
right.
No, yeah, I think that like many people, that there is a line, right? And that line isn't necessarily fair or realistic, right? But there are many things that's like, you know...
Right. It's like those vegan posters of where do you draw the line, and it's like cow, pig, horse, dog, cat. You know, yeah, everybody's got their line.
Broccoli has feelings too, damn it. But it's delicious. With cheese.
Does it have feelings though?
Well,
yeah.
They do feel pain.
Plants scream.
Lovely.
No, they did a study.
Thank you for that nightmare.
They did.
And moving on.
Oh, but we do need a screaming plant.
Do we need
I'm
killer
just saying,
broccoli?
that's horrifying. Maybe little Brussels sprouts screaming.
My God. Wait, what was that movie that had like a giant freaking daisy that was tearing shit up? Was that Hellboy?
Little Shop of Horrors? I don't know.
I don't know.
Was it the second Hellboy that had a big ass plant or something?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean...
I think that was the first
my
one.
kid played a game
Was
with
it the first one?
Yeah, the second one was all that Golden Army robots.
My kid played a
Army,
game
yeah.
with an evil flower in it.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I
there's
mean...
that like Plants vs. Zombies
Oh, no, it was the second one because the elf dude released that seed. That's right.
The demon seed?
I don't know. Whatever that...
I have the same
Whatever
problem.
the Jack and the Beanstalk crap that was with the flower monster.
So I don't know. Plants aren't out of the question.
So we've almost kind of separated our antagonists into intentional bad guys and unintentional bad guys, right? Or intentional antagonists and unintentional antagonists. Intentional antagonists know they have a plot. They're trying to do something. The unintentional antagonists are kind of just who they are and a victim of their circumstance. But it's our protagonist's job to take these things down, or at least stop their reign of terror.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the big villain is the one that is the overarching plot that would take the whole book to conclude.
Or more.
Right.
Because, well, I mean, let's be fair. I'm not sure that this is going to wrap up in a single story.
I feel like at this point we have too much going on to not be a very busy long story.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to feel more and more, Sherlock Holmes Empire to me, where... but I mean, I like a lot of the ideas we came up with, and I like I said, I like the one-sidedness, right? So, when we encounter a were creature of some sort, we're gonna try and calm them down. We're gonna try and bring them in. And, it's okay, buddy. We're gonna get you.
You just get one of those big humane
control.
traps with a goat inside.
Oh, I feel like
so that door drops down.
Hammond would have to be creating these humane traps, right?
Yeah, it's basically a big flatbed that they back up.
Yeah, well, give the time period to
be
be a giant wagon, but yeah.
Yeah. There's some freaking draft horses backing it up. But then, you get these vampires, which are considered vermin, and they're pretty much exterminating them wholesale.
Right.
So, with like absolutely no care, just wipe them out.
Well, they're vectors of disease.
So, yeah.
You bite one person, you're biting another. I mean, you're spreading blood around.
Right. And I think that we need to
No
clarify that our vampires are not like
Twilight
or Vampire Diaries.
No.
Or
Seductive.
They're gross. They look like
they're
rat
gonna be
people,
like
and
gross, drooling.
they pack together in the dark shadows of the sewer systems and stuff like that.
Swarmy, insecty kind
Not
of
to say they
things.
don't talk, though. I think they can reason and speak.
I think
You know what else hisses? Possum. Those things are gross.
But I think a were-possum would still get talked down before you
I
try
agree.
and fucking
Like-
Not by me. That'll eat a shotgun.
No, I think that they would die. I think
They're
that
scarier than most rats.
especially Wilhelm would have a soft spot for even a possum shifter. You know, it's not that the possum shifter can't live; it's just that he can't live in somebody else's attic.
Yeah, no, I think that Wilhelm at first would take in the possum shifter, try and teach it, calm it down, teach
I
it
don't
how to
think you could
control
trap
itself.
it.
And then the possum shifter bites Wilhelm and he accidentally kills it.
I think it would chew through
Are
a
you
cage.
serious? That's
No, I don't know. I
horrible.
mean, it's just an idea. And then he's quietly crying and burying it in the backyard while nobody's
Aw,
awake.
that's
I don't know. It's
horrible.
just a thought.
Well, I mean, are we talking about a 6-foot long possum or a small possum?
What?
No,
Where
this
have
is
you
like
ever seen a
this is
6-foot
like a toddler possum.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
yeah.
So,
Like a
so,
little
so he's put in a
possum.
shoebox and buried
Yeah,
it.
it's like a 7-year-old kid that.
Oh,
Never-
Jesus.
never mind that
People,
it's a
you cannot
human.
kill a 7-year-old.
What?
Well, see, that's the thing.
I just watched a great movie where
Are
they killed the kid right off the
Oh,
bat.
my
Are they going to
God.
revert to human form, or do they stay in the form they died?
Yeah, I don't know.
No, because I think it's amusing.
Why are you killing it?
Because I think it's amusing.
I don't think you see it.
If you take a shoebox and
Yeah.
you bury it, it's really a
Yeah, no,
human,
that's
and
the
nobody
thing.
knows about it.
You
It's
have
only
to-
like 3 feet in the ground.
You have to put it in like a riding boot box, right? So it's big enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But we're talking the Victorian era, so were these boxes? They weren't cardboard, they were probably wood. I don't know. Did they sell them in a box? I don't know.
But probably one of those crappy ones with all the slats, like you get apples in.
Yeah, maybe.
Sweet Jesus, you guys are terrible.
I want to bury a
All right.
possum shifter.
In a crate, apparently.
But we're also going to delve into the world of demons and imps and banshees and harpies and ghosts and sirens and gorgons and hydras and all kinds of Japanese monstrosities, which are hard to pronounce but really interesting.
Right.
Right, dragons and
Yeah,
gargoyles
all
and
comes
bears.
with
Oh
the
my.
job. Right.
But then we have our antagonists who have a plot, right? Which we've come up with a few people, and I don't know. Do you want to give them away? Do you want to talk about them?
I think we can give some of it away, sure. Why not?
Okay, so
I think some of it kind of has to, if we're going to be talking about framing the story and everything, some of it's
well,
gotta-
I think the obvious villain to most people is going to be Blackwell, right?
The big bad.
Well, he's not the big bad, but he's the big
Well,
bad. I think everybody's going to know soon
I think
enough.
that
The one we
he's-
plan to
he's at
disclose
least-
make obvious.
He's book one's main bad guy.
So you want to talk about him?
Sure.
Main spotlight of the bad
Lord
guy.
Desmond Blackwell. He's 46, dark brown black hair, with kind of those really pale blue eyes that you'd describe as gray. 6'1", about 170 pounds. One of those warrior people with a bit of a barrel chest. Let's see on my notes here. He's widowed. He's got one of those really closely cropped, well-maintained beards.
You could just say stereotype, right? He's a stereotypical.
Yes, yes.
So, but okay, what does he do though? What does he do for the story? Where is he?
Well, I mean, he's supposed to be a member of English Parliament.
Okay.
The House of Lords, I mean. Yeah.
Okay, which makes him slightly dangerous because he's hard to take down without a lot of proof.
Well, he also owns a lot of businesses.
Okay, but what is he doing? Why is he an antagonist? What is he doing that is putting him in the path of our protagonists?
Oh, he's a xenophobe. He hates anything that's not human. He's afraid of them. He doesn't like them, and he has a strong hatred. So he's actually gone to the dark arts in order to kill them all. And he's aware of that hypocrisy, and he's okay with it.
Okay.
He basically wants to summon a dark god, use its powers to wipe the world clean of them.
Got it. So he has, gathered up a bunch of other cultists that he's, got on a payroll, right? I mean, he's not he doesn't see anybody as an equal, of course. because
Well, he's got recruiters on the payroll, but cultists are cultists. They come for the wine, the orgies, and the magic,
No, who doesn't? So, all right. So Blackwell has started this cult of you. Well, I don't know. Did he start it, do you think? Or do you think that this cult's been around and he's kind of taking control?
No,
of
he
it?
started it because, while the cult would have existed at some point in history, hasn't really been active in 3,000 years.
I feel like if he's the money man, the one who's got businesses and he's in Parliament and stuff, he'd be the one to bring these people together.
The reason it's
Okay.
but the reason it started is that he's got a hold of a book, a
Right.
real book of power, something that hasn't been around in a long ass time.
Right.
And he has the means, the knowledge, and the intellect to actually translate this to some degree
Sure.
with his assistant. So he's actually reading an ancient Sumerian text and dealing with entities that haven't been worshipped in at least 3,000 years.
What did we say? It was one of the 3 books of Solomon, I think, is what we decided, right?
Sure.
So this whole thing is about summoning monsters and demons and angels and bending them to your power, to your control or what have you.
And that's the arrogance of him, that he's dealing with something this dangerous, just to wipe the world clean of probably the only thing that would protect him from such things that it could unleash.
Right. So under him, he's got. Did we ever name the henchman? Yeah, you have the name of the henchman. Right?
Wait, which one? Are we talking about the muscle or his number one?
The guy who's doing it for money, who's never in any.
Yeah, that's
the
Caleb.
muscle.
Yeah.
But there's also a disposable figure that we wanted to add,
But Caleb's lower than the disposable figure, though.
Right.
But he never seems to get hurt, right? I mean,
Well, that's
this
the
guy sees
problem.
it as a
He's
job.
the guy with some lasting power.
it's the running joke of all those tropes. Is the guy in charge gets murdered for failing to complete a task, and that other guy next to you is now in charge. Caleb never wants to be that guy.
And so he plays, just dumb enough to keep from getting...
And that's just
elected to
it.
the vote.
Caleb is not an
Right,
educated
right.
man.
Oh,
he speaks in
that's fine.
Cockney. He doesn't seem very smart. He's built like a bulldog, but he's smart and he's streetwise. He knows how to just stay just enough in the shadow.
I don't want that promotion. You can keep it.
Right. Well, and if we're going to keep offing his number one, his right hand men, which I think we kind of implied that he lost people in that first scene that we already created, and then I think that was something we thought would be a funny element, was just to have him keep going through that.
Sure.
His number one. So yeah, that's kind of funny that you added in the whole. Nope, don't want that job. Thanks anyway.
Yeah,
I'll
it might
pass.
almost be funny, next time they do a ritual, his number one pops or something like that.
I love it.
Don't hold the FMA,
And he tries to have his henchman step in. No, thank you.
I'm not qualified for this. All right, so he probably has a gang of, I don't know, 5, 7 guys, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say
Who?
like half a dozen.
Blackwell? Yeah, somewhere around, okay,
You
6 or
mean
so?
his inner circle?
Yeah. Well, I'm saying the cult is comprised of 6 people and him?
Oh, I think it's much bigger than that. That just sounds like the leadership.
Okay, the inner circle cult
I
is
don't
6
think that
people
somebody
either.
with this kind of ego would have a lot of people running
Well,
it, though.
he needs it just to get the energy.
Well, I think he's
when
saying
you're doing a
that he's
mass
got
prayer
maybe,
and so many
maybe the
gods.
6 is his immediate cult.
Right.
And beyond that, it's
there's probably got to be
henchmen,
30,
it's-
50.
Oh.
It's gophers.
50,
It's,
good lord.
you
Okay.
know,
You need people in white robes hanging around, chanting around fire. That whole thing.
yeah,
Right, I
looking
was
for
seeing,
shit, keeping
15,
ears out,
20.
maybe,
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, picking up and dropping off the hookers. So,
Good deal.
okay. And then what? Okay, so a couple guys get killed in that first scene, right? So we have to keep replacing number one,
Yes.
right? And then he hires Jennifer, right? Who's just kind of a bitchy,
Well, I feel like Jennifer is kind of, this is,
she's
almost Victorian era, right? So she's never going to get the recognition.
Sure, so she's strong and smart, but she's always going to hit the glass ceiling.
Right.
Because...
So, and I think that Jennifer's probably even smarter than Blackwell.
Oh, no doubt.
Well, that's immediately evident in that she has a minor accent that should tell you that she speaks more than one language.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so you have some information on Jennifer too, though, right?
Well, yeah. She's about 26. Blue-green eyes.
She's
strawberry blonde hair.
Too old.
5'7",
Too old.
135. Yeah, she's an old maid. Yeah,
she's
I
an
get
old maid.
it.
She's not marriable.
She's a bit top-heavy.
Who isn't?
And bisexual. Let's see. She has the high cheekbones, so she definitely has some sort of an Eastern European thing going on. She works as a part-time translator, full-time librarian at one of those, I forget what they call them, but it's one of those, you have to be a member of
Places?
Gentry
Oh.
to loan a book out of. It's like a pay-for library.
So it's a fancy library.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, and so that right there tells you that she's an educated woman.
Right. But but it's always going to be the gag, right? She hits the glass ceiling because
Right, and she's working with a
not
bunch
a
of
guy.
idiots who probably frustrate her.
And it's worth reminding that librarians then are not the librarians we have today. Okay, and you do need
Right, they had to be
education to be a librarian today, but it's not like it was
You
then.
need like a master's degree to be a librarian today.
Yeah, but but you had to be able to speak multiple languages many times back then, and they did.
I mean, you curated.
Right.
You.
Right.
Yeah, it was almost.
You
So
advance the art.
she's like not. Yeah. So it's a station. It's a.
Right. So not that library.
So to be a woman of prominence in that era, in an academic world, is a bit unique,
Right.
especially as
Right.
a foreigner.
Right, and you're still going to get looked down, and men are still going to take credit for all your work.
Exactly.
So, but that's the world she's dealing with. I think it's realistic.
It is. I think that she knows this, and she's trying to make the best of it.
Right. But we could make a little, because this is supposed to be a comedy, right?
Right.
So we could have a little fun with her, like, I don't know, dropping laxatives in the boys' drinks or something like that. I mean, I don't think she's above a little bit.
You mean when they ask her to bring coffee?
Also,
Right.
we could make it to where Jennifer is the one who keeps plugging in that number one who keeps
keeps
getting
getting
blown
popped.
up. Hold on, I got your next guy lined up here.
Yeah, maybe she gets so good at it now.
Right.
She's the one.
And
who
every
brings
time
drinks.
one of the cult members gives her too much shit, hey, guess who's the next number
Right.
one?
Yeah.
That's funny. I like that.
That guy who grabbed my ass last time. Where was he?
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. She dresses a bit conservatively. The clothes are form-fitting, but she's not nearly as revealing as other characters we have. So she's not exactly leaning into that stereotype. She's almost trying to be taken a little more serious than that.
Yeah, that just doesn't always matter.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. In certain societies, you're just never going to be taken seriously as a female.
Right.
Unfortunately, I mean, especially being that men in a society in that age would have been threatened by an intelligent woman. Rather
Absolutely. Yeah.
than anything else. So, okay. Do we need to come up with anything for the other members of the inner circle, or do you think it's good to just
No, I
kind of...
think that's the.
Are they just-
I think that's the main people, right?
Are they just stick figures,
Well, no. I mean, it's what... Okay, for an outline, this is plenty. But when I...
Sure, I guess
in
we
my
name
experience,
them as we go if we
when
need
I'm
to.
writing, I give details. These people fill in the blanks as you move along. They just... As you need to describe a person doing a thing, you can't help but give a little detail. Otherwise, yeah, they are stick figures.
So
and
the
that's
mirroring,
no fun.
though, is that our antagonists, the organized antagonists, though, are all going to be humans. Whereas our protagonist group is kind of made up of a mix, right? So...
Which in a world infested by monsters is kind of amusing.
Right. Yeah, and being that,
Well, okay, so we should at least say that they are. Okay, you're saying that the bad guys are all human, right? The good guys are kind of a mix, but they're not really. They're mostly human. There's one where to start. I mean, there's no saying that down the road a job goes bad.
That's true.
That
Yeah,
doesn't
I guess.
last, but
Yeah, I guess they're just a much bigger mix of personalities than
there
anything.
is, yeah,
So,
and acceptance.
right. Okay, so, all right, I don't think that I guess what's the end game here, right? So we have Blackwell who is trying to accomplish a goal. This goal is to summon some great beast or angel or demon or what have you to help him wipe out the unnatural. Right?
The supernatural.
I don't know if he's that foolish. He might be looking to get the power in himself to do it. Because unleashing a thing,
Okay,
he
but
would
that's
know
not
he would
how
not be able to control
Solomon's
it.
book worked. Solomon's
That's
book
true.
was a book of summoning
Well,
of great
that's not
entities.
You can summon it
Did
and
he-
then extort power
Is that
from
what it was? You could take energy. Well, how do you guys want to do it? I mean, Solomon's book wasn't a real thing.
Well-
Do you
So-
think? Well, no, but I mean, there is myths around Solomon.
Oh, sure, and there are
There
plenty
are.
of fake Solomon books out there.
But
But there is lore around summoning a demon and then taking its power, or summoning a demon and then controlling
Do I
it.
have to
it's
eat
sending it out to
Like, what do you
assassinate.
do?
Yeah.
Do you have to eat it?
I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know. What do you have to do?
Not that I'm aware of.
I think that would break whatever contract you're making.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like, that might be a deal breaker.
All right. Now, in video games.
I mean, you could negotiate. All things are negotiable. So.
In video games, Blackwell would technically be the end boss, right?
Right.
And then his crew is his inner circle. They don't count as the mid boss. The mid boss would be the thing that he summoned, I think, right? In
Okay, that's
video
fair.
terms.
Yeah.
So what did he summon to either get to do his dark bidding for him or give him power?
Well, it's either like a evil knowledge lawyer librarian
Well,
demon,
you had a
or
couple
it's
you
going to
really
be
liked,
a
right?
murder demon.
You had a couple you really liked. What do you think? Like I like that one spider thing you talked about, or it could have been a dragon or a djinn.
I don't think it would be. I don't think dragons are inherently bad.
No, I don't think so either. And what Solomon summoned weren't inherently bad or evil, or good or evil. It was, he summoned a mix, and used their powers
The
to his.
spider one might be powerful enough. What was her name? Something.
Jorgoma.
What culture is that from?
It's Japanese, I'm pretty
Japanese?
sure.
Jorogamo? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure we're butchering this.
Well, I apologize. I don't speak the language natively. It was an interesting creature, though. I kind of liked.
It was definitely an interesting character. Let me see if I can find it again. Hold on one
All right, I'll tell you what. Why
You
don't
guys
we
keep
come back
going.
after the break
Okay.
with
I
what that
actually
is?
got-
All right, we are back, and it turns out it's pronounced Jorogumo, according to
Good
Google.
Lord.
That's how Google pronounced it. What do you want? I'm not being mean. That's what it said.
Okay, Jorogumo was a Japanese folklore. What did we say? It was one of the yokai.
The yokai.
She's a 400-year-old giant spider that can change its appearance into that of a beautiful woman, and she seduces men, wraps them up in her web, and eats them.
So, just a normal woman.
Cute. Anyway.
It's better than a clown in a sewer.
That is true. It'll take a couple drinks before I sleep with that.
There are people into that.
Whatever floats your boat. No judgment here.
Paper boat.
It all
Yeah,
flows down
Georgie.
here, Georgie. Yes, it does.
Anyway, so I mean,
Alright.
it's a possibility.
So we're thinking maybe the Jorogumo as our mid-boss, right? I mean, mid doesn't necessarily mean halfway through the story, but you know what I'm saying? So you get to this because Blackwell sent it out there in the world to try and wipe out the freaks, as he would see them, right?
Well, would he be able to control a Jorogumo to only
Well,
lure
that's part of the
in-
summoning, right?
lure in non-human men?
Well, I think that's part of the summoning. Is that it's
You bind it to a circle to
it's
make
an
a
assassin.
contract.
So
Right.
he sets it up somewhere, and maybe, I don't know, maybe we give the Jorogumo like some kind of lair, I don't know, in the park or in the sewer or something like that, or under, the bridge or
She
something.
needs as a building.
Underground river with a cave,
So,
maybe.
well, this takes place in London, right? So London actually has those bricked-in underground waterways and stuff like that, but they aren't sewers; they're water passageways. So,
Okay.
it might be a good place for it, though. Nice and.
No, I'm not familiar with what you speak, but sure.
Yeah, well, I just saw a documentary. It was really
She's
really
a spider.
cool.
She can make a house anywhere.
That's true, but a house is not a home.
For the love of God.
Okay, so
Without people hanging in woven thread.
I didn't get the tapestry. Okay, no, I like the Jorogumo.
I just thought she was interesting and not overdone.
Yeah, but her whole point is seducing men. Now, we have a bisexual character, but that doesn't mean that like all women are going to be fall prey to this.
Here's the thing, though, is that in this time, anybody of power, right, would
Well,
mostly
first
be
off,
male.
I don't believe
That's fair.
I don't
That's
believe
fair.
in handcuffing myself to lore, especially being that the myth could have been misinterpreted, it could have been mistold, or it could just be outright wrong.
So you think it'd take any gender that would be appealing to its victim?
Well, I think for one, it's being bound to a demonic pact.
No, I know,
Yes,
but I
it's
mean,
true.
like describing it more as a succubus, incubus that can like swap.
Sure, but my simple point is that Blackwell says you can hunt anything that's not,
Right.
human. And right now, running around London, obviously there's enough of them to freak Blackwell out enough to summon these things,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, just a thought that might be a stipulation is just kill the freaks,
True. I mean, a harpy would work as well.
I like harpies and the banshees and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, are we doing this like... Yeah, I don't know. Any of those would work, and I don't feel like those are things that are overdone. A Jorogumo, a harpy, a banshee, any of those would work.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's plenty of things. So, fuck, we could do, if we could figure out how to do it good, mermaids or fucking,
Yeah, but just like Aquaman, it might be 70% of the world. It's not where all the crime happens.
The water?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
but...
isn't the idea of a mer or a siren that they lure you there, right?
Right, and we could put...
Yeah, but you're already in a boat at that point.
And we can put them in the...
Not necessarily. If you're saying there's waterways all over.
River.
The Thames?
Yes. We could put them in the Thames.
Hell, put the mermaid in the sewer.
Gross.
That would be a very upset mermaid. Yeah, who's falling in love with a half-naked chick covered in poo?
But there's a watery tot in the sewer. No?
Like, yeah, I know that, like, the whole water therapy is starting to catch on and people are just starting to bathe and all, but there's limits.
Yeah, and even the Thames might be pushing it.
Yeah, oh God.
So,
especially in that time period.
Right.
The beginning of industrialization.
Yeah, she didn't smell fishy before she does now.
Oof.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So,
yeah,
I think we have a lot of, but I don't know. I thought that Jorogumo could be a good hunter.
It's interesting. I want to do more research on that character.
True.
I wouldn't want to completely bastardize another cultures, whatever. But it sounds to me like it's probably a spirit, like an angry, like a lot of their myths that I've read.
There are a lot of good yokai to choose from if you're going to go that
What
route.
exactly is yokai?
It's just a type of
are they spirits?
They are spirit demons.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are like
I love Tengu.
the angry
and that's the one we're
deceased.
talking about is the enemy
That's
of the
another yokai, right?
an enemy of the Jorogumo are Tengu, and I freaking love Tengu. I write about them and other things, so I've even changed them to fit them in the future and shit like that because I love Tengu.
Right.
So there's a lot of cool stuff coming, from the Japanese standpoint. There's also a lot of freaky things and a lot of things that you stand no chance of ever beating. We don't want to use that stuff, of course. We want our team to stand a chance of beating it.
As you said before, I wouldn't want to be straitjacketed into something,
Right.
but I also don't want to be disrespectful. I want to do a little bit of research into that, just so that we can fully color them in.
Sure. But yeah, I mean, we can't forget that this is a slightly comedic and
Sure.
lighthearted take on this whole thing.
Well, I mean, she's known as a prostitute demon. I mean, that itself is amusing.
So
She has 8 legs and somehow seduces people into thinking that she's a woman, going into their house and playing a lute
This
or
is
whatever
the
it
thing
is.
it's Ann Coulter.
She can. Oh my God.
I mean, do they jet off her back? Like in a backpack or something? Like just
No, I
burst
think
through her
she
skin?
can. I think she can hide them because it says that she can appear as a woman. So there's really
So
nothing.
it's an illusion?
There's nothing trapping her into any place where she hides or is a human or something.
See, I could see some really cool imagery where she almost folds in on herself or
See, I've just seen these burst out of her back.
Hell,
with
maybe
a
they
spray
wrap
of blood.
around her like a corset. Who freaking knows?
Yeah, there's a bunch of really cool things I think can be done
But
here.
here's the thing: is if she's like this sexy seductress of a demon.
She'd have to be pretty bussy for me not to notice
I mean,
a leg
hell, she
belt.
might be making Meredith and Zara jealous with her.
I think I would notice a leg
Well,
girdle.
I mean, she's a spider demon, so baby got back.
Yeah. Although in that time period with the hoops, you could probably get away with that.
Yeah, the bustly skirts and stuff.
Oh, my dear, you're
No,
wearing a bustle.
The whole wood hoops and stuff and the spring butts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
she
my
could
God.
easily hide this in Victorian stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
See, that's the thing. The more we think about this, the more perfect she is for this setting.
Yeah.
Because she could get away with it, And I'm not sure that they could in various other things. So, yeah, it could be interesting. So
I also feel like she would probably end up setting her sights if she comes in contact with the team. She'd be setting her sights on Wilhelm, being that he's the super.
Right.
And we also commented that maybe Wilhelm is not so interested in the lady folks. So that would be
but nobody knows
that. So she might get really frustrated when she can't seduce him.
Yeah, well, even a 400-year-old demon who probably hasn't encountered too many, that are
werewolves or homosexuals.
Exactly.
The later.
Yeah, no, and I never planned Wilhelm's homosexuality as a trope. I felt like he was a genuine homosexual character.
Yeah, but he's given the time period and his nature and as reserved as he is and uncomfortable in his own skin.
Yeah,
he's more asexual. It's not that he's not attracted or doesn't want to do anything.
I don't think it's
he's happier just being a bachelor and calling it a day.
If you're playing the Victorian era as it was, I don't think asexuality was a choice. I think it's something you did because
I think that if he's a gay character, he's
right, but
most
that's my
likely
point.
A bachelor. Anyway.
He's more involved with the sciences, figuring himself out, and everything else.
And that's what happened with the Nikola Teslas and of the world. He was a lifelong bachelor.
Oh, okay.
So
right, and that's basically how it kind of worked out back then because it wasn't something that was acceptable.
Well, there were clubs.
And I'm not saying that Nikola Tesla was gay. I don't know.
Right.
But he was a lifelong bachelor. That
right.
is true. So, from what I understand, he died a virgin. So, but, that is the times. He could have just
like
been
Isaac Newton.
Awkward in any number of ways. Right.
Right. So there was basically no reason to ever plug Wilhelm into a relationship because in the time period it was unlikely.
I hope Wilhelm finds a relationship, though.
I honestly think that at some point in the story arc, he's going to go to one of those clubs.
Right. A gentleman's club. Not a gentleman's club like we have today. But back then, where gentlemen got together.
Right. But a gentleman's club that...
For fancy
is
gentlemen.
Yes.
For what?
For fancy gentlemen.
Fancy lads.
Yeah, the
okay then.
The ones who dress really well and manicure and stuff like that.
Sure.
Which wasn't uncommon in those days either, by the way. So men taking
which would make it all the more frustrating for his gaydar.
Either way, I feel like it would be a funny way to mix him and Jorogumo if she's trying to seduce him and it's just not gonna fly.
Yeah, and maybe Hammond is like, hey. What am I, chopped liver?
he's like half a foot shorter than her.
Right.
I don't know. I see it as like
his top hat comes up to her boobs.
Yeah. I've seen the dance scene from Revenge of the Nerds with Wormser.
He might take special pleasure in plugging a few bolts in her. Turn me down while you.
Next thing you know, he's in his little lab creating a raid machine or something.
Raid!
a fogger device.
Maybe making a lapel flower full of raid.
Right. Insect repellent.
I don't think an insecticide is going to work on a ghost or a demon or whatever. But, I don't put it past him trying it.
Yeah, he would try it.
Yeah,
it would end up being some kind of exploding.
Holy raid.
It would be the first.
Now, yes, blessed raid would definitely work.
Yeah, holy water mixed with raid. Yeah.
It would be one of the first one of those bombs you set off in your house with the
the foggers. Yeah, we have to describe Wilhelm going to the churches and siphoning off all the holy water out of the. You know what I'm talking about? The bowl where you splash yourself and do the Father, the Son. Yeah, and Wilhelm's going around filling up like a big leather bladder full of it or something like that.
He forgets to bring something with him and has to bust out his flask.
Bless me, Father, for I sin.
He sticks his flask down in there, and it's just you hear the bubbles coming.
The nuns just staring at him.
They're very shallow
silence.
And curved. You'd have to go back many times, I think.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's got that narrow hole at the top. The bubbles would come up so slowly.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think wasn't that in Dust at Dawn? Didn't they do something like that?
I don't remember that. I know there was holy water in that, but I thought it was in a little bottle.
I swear I've seen that scene in a movie.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Because the one guy happened to be a priest in the bar.
Happened to be a priest?
Yeah.
Happens to be.
So, it doesn't... No, I'm saying that he's running around church to church stealing the holy water.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious.
So, alright, no, I don't know. I like the Yorgumo. I don't think we have to use it exactly as the myth says it was or anything like that,
I'm just saying the more I know, the more colorful you could probably make it.
I think it should be difficult to beat it. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's going to take...
She sounds very formidable from what I've read so far.
But, you know, I think this is...
Usually the Miz always have a special weakness, though.
I think this is a good coming together thing for the team, though, right? Because they're very disjointed in the beginning, and maybe it's going to take them all really getting their shit together
and in
this
fact,
one time to take this thing on. So maybe there is a trial and loss, right? Like they go against it initially and fail.
Sure, if they
Maybe
try to
she
attack it
ends
as a
up
creature.
getting a hold of Wilhelm.
And not
even
a
if
demon.
it's
Oh, and they have
against
to
his
rescue
will.
Wilhelm?
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
Well, that would suck, because Wilhelm's the person that would do the research to actually figure out his weakness.
Well, it doesn't have to be right away. They can meet her. She keeps failing, and maybe eventually she gets frustrated. You know, maybe they know what it is at some point.
Well,
it doesn't have to
maybe
be
this is where
immediately she kidnaps him.
maybe this is where Hammond has to step it up and go through Wilhelm's shit to figure out what
And
this
the
is.
other thing is, we did say that Meredith is no slouch. She's very
True.
smart. She's very intelligent.
Yeah, and Sarah can hold
and
her own,
she's
too.
crafty. So
Oh, well, Hammond's an engineer. He's not dumb, but yeah, it's not... The library's not his forte.
Right.
Wilhelm's specialty is the research.
Well, it's not just that, but Wilhelm has that in the underworld, you know, so it's like...
Right, where...
You know, yeah, we got to find out what the fuck
Okay,
this
so
thing
maybe
is.
Wilhelm hears a rumor in his anonymous group before any of this goes down.
Okay, so maybe they have a clue as to what she is before they even find her.
Right. So maybe these rumors are going around. Maybe they're already doing the research before they even meet her and realize it's her.
In a world with wares and other...
In a world.
And other supernaturals, where that's just part of their everyday experience, they would have a name or a term for things that are actually not from Earth.
Maybe so, but here's the thing: is also
Well, I'm just saying they could
In
talk
a
about
world-
rumors of sightings of these things.
yeah. But if these people are meeting in groups, and this yokai is specifically targeting male
That's
shifters,
true, yeah, they're gonna be-
there would be rumbles in the
Sure.
supernatural.
That'd be kind of funny.
She might get frustrated,
World.
right? Because it's worked on where after where after where,
Right.
And then she gets to Wilhelm, just not fucking working.
Right,
And
and
he's
that's
like,
what
fuck
I'm
this,
saying.
and just takes his
is-
ass.
Well,
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the other direction. So he goes to Where's Anonymous, and there's almost no guys in there. It's like, what is it, ladies' night? What's going on here?
Oh, yeah?
So he starts to notice that people are going missing.
It
Yeah, maybe he
depopulates
brings the
males.
case to the team.
Yeah.
You know, that's not a bad thought. Is that because who's gonna report a bunch of wares?
Well, yeah, he might have been crushing on one of the dudes in his group. You don't know.
You know,
He goes to look for him and find out, what happened to him. Why he
Stan
didn't show
hasn't
up.
been to group in like 2 weeks.
Right.
You know,
Stan?
I don't know. I just came up with a name.
I don't know. It's English. I was thinking James, but whatever.
Stanley's a very English
I need to
name.
write some of this down because I don't know. About
I don't
you
know.
guys,
Maybe
but my
Stan is an
memory's
English
not
name.
that
I have no
great.
idea.
Staniel.
Daniel.
Stan.
I absolutely love mixing names that don't work.
I don't know. That just it sounds so modern,
Like
but it could be an old
Gregory.
name. Who knows?
Who the hell knows? I didn't research it. This is ad lib here. You get
Staniel.
you get what you pay for. Nobody's paying me. So,
I dig it.
I don't know. Look, yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. I think it's a rather good idea that maybe it's a good way to introduce the Wilhelm's
concept.
meetings. Yeah, and
Well, like this could all be happening, and we don't even
That's
introduce
true.
it.
We haven't brought up really the
Like-
meetings and how they're going to play into the story.
No, but I'm saying the group may not be aware of this demon at all. They haven't even faced it. yet.
right, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's just less guys in the group.
Well, and,
right.
and-
Yeah, maybe Wilhelm's the one who sees it. In the
right. A
first
lot of
place.
other people may not care
starts
about
doing
these.
the research.
and where's Stanuel?
starts doing the research well before the Jorogumo even comes into play with their group. Before he realizes what it is.
Right.
And maybe they meet her after they know that there's a Jorogumo killing, shifters, and they still don't realize it's her.
Right. Yeah, even though she's a demon, she's technically a shifter. She might be able to get a little because she goes back and forth between, from what I saw in pictures, back and forth between this hot chick and this spider thing.
Right.
I know it's not the same thing.
Given the time period, you got that whole Jack the Ripper era thing going on. It's England. Prostitutes might notice her. She's taking on a bunch of gigs.
Yeah.
That's true.
Some repeat business
That's
dries up.
true. That's very true.
That could be a
Taking
good.
out
That
their
could be a good lead to
regulars?
follow up. In
Yeah.
their
It's
investigative
funny to have a
process.
little catty spat between a prostitute and her.
I'm just saying, you
Bitch,
want to
get off my corner.
get a little more Sherlock Holmes in there. There you go.
I don't know that that's how prostitutes worked back then.
Oh yeah, no, they had pimps and the whole
Well, no,
thing.
they had
corner-
territories,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Good Lord. Okay.
Well, I mean, some operated out of businesses and some were bangtails.
Yeah.
We're what now?
Bang tails.
Alley cats.
You basically paid a nickel to screw in an alley.
Oh, that's sad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eh.
Never saw From Hell?
Nope. Okay then.
So, anyways, I mean, I don't know if I see the Yorigumo as a bangtail, but she's gonna work with what she's got, right? I mean, it's not exactly.
No, but they might see
Right.
her for what she is as a professional. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's escorting guys and walking off somewhere, and they're like, "Hey, that's alls," you know. Stop poaching.
Okay.
Bobby can't afford your high class ass.
Some guy with a scar and a switchblade tries to mess with her or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Hey, as long as
I don't know. I'm running low on caffeine here.
well, take a break, grab some caffeine. We'll be right back.
Hey guys, if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, go to our website at thedarkandstormynights.home.blog and click on Support the Kingdom to check out merchandise and various ways to keep us going.
Okay, so lastly, let's get to the big bad, right? The guy who's the, I don't know if he's the Moriarty of the story or anything like that. The
I think so,
elusive
yeah.
thing that keeps causing all these problems, because regardless of what happens to Blackwell or anything else that's been released into this world, Bishop Talbot is going to be a continual thorn in the side of the protagonists, right? I mean, he's going to be the thing, because his goal is to create enough evil, or to bring enough evil into this world.
Instability.
Instability, all kinds of abominations, anything he can, to convince the church that it's time for a new Inquisition.
Mm-hmm.
So he's purposely releasing these artifacts and books and stuff like that to get more evil and instability to well up in this world. Mm-hmm. And what have you. So I think that Talbot's going to play a small role, right? I mean, we're not going to see a ton of him, I don't think.
No, not at first. I don't think that he's going to be the focus, but he is the overall
Right.
bad guy.
So when we find something a little odd or a little far out there, Talbot's probably behind it,
Right.
So now I think that the Yorigumo might be something they can pull straight out of the Solomon book. But the Solomon book likely came from...
We thought that would have come from Blackwell, right? That was actually Blackwell trying to control her.
Right, but his book came from
Right, but the book
Bishop.
came from Talbot to Blackwell.
Oh, you're saying yes, because your idea was that Talbot was the one who's releasing things that the church is holding?
Right, so yeah, he's stealing artifacts from the church, from the
Vatican.
The Vatican itself, or various archives that they've got, and these things may have power. And he's putting them in the hands of people who will use them to bring these dark things into the world.
Talbot and Blackwell are very similar in that regard.
Yeah, I think that Blackwell's just a little smaller.
Yeah, he is a smaller fish. He's a cult leader, where Talbot is literally an archbishop in the church. He's up there.
Blackwell's not a cult leader. He's just using a weapon. That's all. He's just aiming something.
Blackwell's one of many fish in Talbot's pond.
Right. And that's all he's doing. He sees the world is already doomed. He's just tipping the scales enough so the church reacts.
Right. Well, Talbot's kind of trying to walk that line and just put enough artifacts out there to keep things fucked up enough to where the church is thinking, maybe we need to start an Inquisition. And Talbot's going to keep pushing that button every time they review it.
Right. He has a goal. He wants something here, and he is going to throw enough evidence out there, even if he's the one basically falsifying evidence here.
This sounds like it would introduce a new character.
He's going to get his way one way or another.
The witch's hammer. The guy roaming around, burning and crucifying people and all that.
Well, if it ever comes to that Inquisition that Talbot wants to levy. But I think that's what Talbot wants, right? He wants to be the Grand Inquisitioner. A position that the church did away with ages ago.
But he's still a bishop and an old man. I'm seeing like a soldier. Like there's going to be...
Yeah, okay, so you're saying that Talbot's going to be the brain villain.
Oh, yeah.
And so he needs a loyal soldier villain to be at his side. So,
and calling him a villain might not be fair, because as far as he's concerned, he's serving the will of God.
Sure. Well, I don't think either of them see themselves as bad guys. It's a matter of perspective to these people, right? that they think that the world's already screwed
Or even
up.
Blackwell's
They're
it,
just making
yeah.
it look screwed
I
up
feel like-
enough to where something is done.
I feel like with all this, you guys have grown this past one book. I also feel like...
Oh
if
yeah,
you're-
no. I feel the arc of the singular book would be Blackwell.
Yeah, I
I don't
agree.
necessarily think the books themselves are going
This
to be
is
super
a-
long, though.
This is
They don't
a
need to be, but I do feel like this has kind of grown
Talbot's
a lot.
definitely a recurring character. Blackwell
Absolutely.
may or
I
may
think that
not be,
Talbot's-
but
Talbot, right? I agree completely. Talbot's going to be the one who makes it through the whole series, whether it's 2 books, 3 books, whatever it ends up being. But I think that if you're going to do that, where you have that muscle, like where maybe he gets his way, and the church says, "You're right. This is a disaster. Look at all this stuff going on," and they finally agree with him, and he gets that guy. Like maybe that's how we wrap it up. Is that that he ends up with that
Ended
muscle
on
and-
the hammer of God being
right. Yeah, maybe
hired.
that's your
Okay,
end game.
the last villain introduced is never used. So
No, I mean he can maybe use him at the very end, but ultimately it all comes crashing down.
well, you got a lot of characters in play. We got Jennifer, who's after the
This
books.
is what I'm saying is why I feel like it's grown so much is because we have we have all this going on, and a lot of what we were talking about with these like kind of sub issues, like letting additional demons and imps and ghouls and stuff like that.
well,
loose.
and artifacts, I think, too.
Artifacts,
right?
yeah, for
there's
sure.
really some things that don't necessarily release a demon or something like that, but they themselves have great power of either
Or like a monkey paw, like supposedly
Yeah.
granting wishes,
Sure.
but really never a good
yeah,
result.
or like I was thinking like a Gabriel's horn or something like that.
Right, right.
Or just which they say signals the end of days, but could be any number of things. I mean, it could just create this.
And do you want to make it more convoluted? Do you want to have a villain in there that's actually cross purposes with the bishop and actually has his own artifacts or her own artifacts?
Well, I don't know that necessarily. I mean, that character might be introduced, but never used in because there's just so much going on already.
Right.
That I don't necessarily know that character has a place to get rooted yet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of story to tell here. I'm not necessarily against a character like that existing.
But I'm saying with this bishop, if you really cared and it was popular enough, you could easily take this 7-9 books if you wanted.
Holy moly.
Well,
You could. No, because every book could be this artifact and this big bad. Or
Oh,
this,
I know.
Or this team up of big bads.
Yeah,
you can do the whole
I
comic
know,
book
because
thing.
ultimately
Right,
what we have
right.
going on
Blackwell
here
gets out of
is we have
prison and
this-
teams up with this other guy.
Right, and we have this little team.
Now he's got
this
like
little
face tattoos.
ragtag team that doesn't even work together
Teardrop.
right just yet.
Right.
And then we just did an entire show on bad guys, a villain show. And I mean,
Well, you know what?
that's a lot for
never-
them to take on. Like
Right.
that's absolutely got to be more than a book.
Well, yeah. I think some of this stuff is going to be
Like this is their normal right here is the vampires.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm.
Yeah, that's episodic. That's like a
Right.
couple chapters
That's
of dealing with
baseline.
this.
Well, that's it. No, I think in a single chapter they go on an exterminating mission and they're wiping out these freaking Nosferatu vampires like
Right.
they're rats and
Cleaning out this poltergeist,
Yeah, but
getting these imps
really,
out.
That's not the story of that chapter. The story of that chapter is them bullshitting about something.
Right.
And it's almost like killing Nosferatu is secondary. Who cares? It's just it's like cleaning the owl shit out of your attic.
Spraying for gremlins, whatever.
Yeah, basically.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Aw,
God,
we
fucking
should do
brownies.
gremlins.
Fuck brownies, man. Those guys are little bastards. So yeah. What,
Gremlins
just
and brownies.
Slaughter
I
brownies
dig
left
it.
and right.
But I feel like that should go with the vampires and be their normal, like pests.
Okay,
They're
so you're
pests.
saying gremlins and brownies go with.
with the vampires, They're-
Especially
they're
brownies are
pest
annoying, like in
control.
Willow.
That's what I'm saying.
In Willow?
Remember the love dust and all that? Those two guys?
Nope, I don't know.
So can you imagine? Yeah, they're chasing this little freaking 3-inch tall guy around the house who's just wreaking havoc with magic.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's not what the book's about. That's just episodic, day-to-day stuff that they
Well,
do.
yeah, that's
Right.
I mean, even though they are an element in the story, they're more setting than they are character.
Right, exactly. But even so, even like knocking that out, you guys still have a lot of bad guys there.
Sure. Well, I think that the bottom part of the list, the demons and
I know, but bring
imps and banshees and stuff like that. That's just it's a toolbox, right?
Right.
But see, villains are more than just something to beat up and overcome. They define the hero.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Is these are tools. Those are villains. So the monsters really are tools of the villains who are almost all humans. You know,
They are, but
I mean-
but also the Jorogumo is not a villain in and of herself.
well, she's being
a
used.
tool.
She's stuck being a
But
victim of a
also-
dark contract.
But also that character has some depth to her.
Well, she-
Well, that's the other thing is they might not have to beat her the traditional way. They could beat her by getting her contract broken. So, you know,
But they still have to get her out of there.
well, it could just unsummon her. I don't know. I don't know how Solomon's book
Unless-
works.
unless you,
I
like-
didn't write it.
You went another
Well,
direction.
you are now.
Treated her like a hungry ghost, where her
Hungry hippo.
her condition is like symptomatic. So she was like a nymphomaniac in life and couldn't find peace and was never
So they
saturated.
buy her a vibrator and she goes home.
They did exist in that time period.
Lordy.
Nice little wooden box lined in velvet. They
You
did
crank
exist.
it, you had a hand crank and everything. Now they plug in. Well,
Well, Hammond can take care of that for her. I'm sure he can come up
he
with.
could make one. Yeah.
And whoops, it
I
blows her
modified
up.
my Gatling gun
I mean,
for you.
that is a twist I did not anticipate, but it definitely is in fitting with the book.
And in true Hammond, in true Hammond style, it accidentally blows her up. And
Still worked, right?
Or maybe she
once again, quite fortuitous.
or maybe she's gone 400 years without an orgasm, and then she finally goes into the light.
That I would believe.
Yeah. How do we like put the angel singing in the story? Right?
No wonder she's
Her
so
four arms
freaking
fold
upset.
back and turn into duff wings.
And the scripture said, "Come unto me." Oh, you spelled that wrong.
Nice.
Okay, no more. Because the preceding and the following line do not help. Do not. Just move along.
Damn it, Hammond! That's not what that means. If Wilhelm was here, he'd have known.
Oh my.
Okay, so maybe not. I mean, they're all good ideas. But, maybe not.
I don't know. I think it's funny. I like it.
I don't know.
It's
that
unexpected.
We should give the spider demon an orgasm. But we'll see where the story takes us, I guess.
It's too bad she died before she could give a testimonial. Was it Masters and Johnson? They'd probably want to write up on this.
Oh, Lord.
Wow. Okay.
Could have saved ourselves a lot of studies.
No, there's a lot of opportunity for humor, but what I was saying is like the villain really tells you who a hero is, because without a villain, the hero has no growth. They have nothing to overcome, no way to change. To even define them as a hero other than just a run-of-mill nobody,
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, I think Bishop Talbot's freaking storyline is dark. I don't think it's humorous, really. I think there can be humor interjected into it, but Talbot's dark. While Blackwell...
Yeah, more like satire than jokey humor.
Well, it's dry,
Yeah.
And it's bitter and biting, but
Yeah,
humorous
I
in
feel
that
like
way.
Talbot is a much more serious. Obviously, the team automatically kind of brings a little bit of humor into
Right.
everything, and of course, we can have some humor in with the things that he's releasing as well.
Sure, and then, like we said, Blackwell's team, largely, kind of funny, because they're somewhat
Absolutely.
bumbling through this. I mean, come on, nobody's done this stuff before that these people know. I mean, maybe Solomon summoned these things. These guys have no idea what the hell
Well,
they're
see,
doing.
Absolutely.
That's a
And
bit of
then on
humor right
top
there.
of it,
Why summon a whore demon?
Yeah.
Why is that in the Vatican's book?
Yeah.
And
What
on
was
top
Solomon
of it,
doing?
I feel like Blackwell brings some humor into it with his narcissism and his.
Oh yeah, he's a pompous prick,
Right, right.
And then I think that,
And then him constantly, like Jennifer maybe is constantly correcting him, and yet he still thinks he's better than her, in
right,
all
and she's
terms.
talking under her breath or behind his
Right,
back
right,
about
right.
shit.
I mean, Blackwell is talented, intelligent, powerful. It's much of it's earned, but it would be kind of funny to give him a flaw, like
Yeah.
he always mispronounces certain words.
It might be almost
Yeah.
interesting that Jennifer and the henchman. What's his name? What's the henchman's name?
That's Caleb.
Caleb. I feel like Jennifer and Caleb might almost end up
I
with
don't know why I keep wanting to call him Craig.
I
but yeah.
nearly called him Calvin. Anyways,
I can see Blackwell doing that. Calvin, Craig.
see, there you go. He has a different name every time.
Yeah.
It's always wrong. I nearly called him Woodhouse earlier, but I was thinking about Archer.
Oh God.
So, but But I don't know, maybe the henchmen, Caleb and Jennifer, might talk shit about Blackwell behind his back.
Oh, no, undoubtedly. I have seen that from the beginning. Yes, those two could...
Or can you imagine, we talked about...
They will survive all the way through.
Number one, who we're no longer naming.
Agree.
You know, it's like that when you get a pet hamster and the pet hamster keeps dying, so you stop naming it different names, and it's always Bob the hamster forevermore.
Oh, you mean his right hand
Oh,
man.
so you're
Right.
saying Blackwell just keeps calling the guy...
Number one, by the same name from here on
Yeah.
out, you know. You know how we said he pops? Like they do the one ritual, and he just pops, and I can see the awkward, inappropriate laughter from Caleb. Like he just starts laughing. It's like, meanwhile, like Jennifer's got blood down the side of her face on the left side, and Blackwell on the right side of his face because he was between them.
You over there. You're my new number one. You are Bob. No, I don't want to be the Bob. I do not want to be the Bob. Do not make me Bob.
Well, I can't read.
Every other chapter is going to be Blackwell interviewing a new...
Yeah, no, I
number
totally
one.
see Jennifer and Caleb being the two old grumpy guys in the Muppets.
All right, take a note. Put this in the Sunday Times. Seeking henchmen. You can't say that. Well, how do we word this?
I mean, yeah, basically.
Civis boy? No, that sounds wrong.
Young gentleman. People won't think right of it. Yeah, there's plenty to be done. That's what I'm saying. I think they're...
Yeah, I mean, the humor, as much as surprising as it is with a steampunk story, the humor has just kind of fallen into place with a lot of this.
That's what I'm saying. I think just the situation of the whole thing's
Right.
funny, you know?
Yeah, it definitely has surprised me. It's not a genre I would think would lend itself to it, but
yeah.
in a matter of minutes, it was funny.
Perfect, yeah. I couldn't... I could have never... Because, I don't know, I like steampunk. I love steampunk.
I generally hate it because it's a lot of a suspension of disbelief. It's always alternative history. There's always meta-humans or supernaturals or something going on.
I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a
Airships,
leap
green
but
liquids that glow, ray guns. There's a lot.
I don't know.
I mean, that stuff's in all kinds of stories.
Yeah.
No, I know, but it's all in one
But
story.
you call
That's
it
what makes it
dilithium
really
crystal
hard.
and it's believable. Whatever.
What?
But you call it a dilithium crystal and it's suddenly believable.
Right.
Yeah, but that's one
It's
suspension.
the same thing. No different.
Or
No different.
every genre's got theirs. The lights.
Lithium crystals from Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
You
actually,
have to throw in Geordi's magic
Or-
along with that.
I would say
that's how it all got
teleportation is the
pieced
worst thing in
together.
Star Trek. That's the most suspension of disbelief.
That's what I'm saying.
What?
I mean,
It's teleportation.
there's literally no difference between the way steampunk
Or
says something
beaming
is
or
so
whatever.
it's so,
Yeah.
you know, or the way, you know, futurism says something is so. You know, it's just that, because this is copper and brass and glass that it's harder to believe.
My only point is that in every genre, you're allowed a couple, but in steampunk, there's a whole bag of mixed nuts that you're expected
I
to
like
accept.
steampunk better because I find that a lot of those green liquids are really not good for you. You know, like, there's always something really bad about what they're doing to power that thing.
Oh, sure,
you know?
for sure.
Or there's all these side effects or backfiring things, you know, and that's how you get werewolves. Do you want werewolves? You know? So, no, there's plenty of great explanations for why things are so messed up. Plus, I love that it's the age of adventure and exploration, you know? Like, the time
speaking of which.
where we're discovering mummies and shit, you know?
I think Wolfsbane should be like catnip.
So instead of it warding off werewolves, they love it?
Way too much. To distraction.
I don't know. I almost thought we might be able to walk in on Wilhelm humping something.
Jesus. Why?
It's a perk dog.
Is he still wearing his tweed jacket?
Get out! Get out! What are you doing?
If you're gonna do that, you got to make it Dale that walks in on it.
But maybe Dale's humping something. I wouldn't put it past
Jesus.
Dale.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Dale either.
He's either eating or humping, probably, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely more Dale.
Or begging for belly scratches.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to get people to submit pictures of pigs that are cute enough to take the place Dale.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I like it. I think we can start mapping some of this stuff out. I like that we came up with the Joragumo. I like her as a character. Maybe flesh her out a little bit and go some with it. I
didn't care one way or another, but I thought it was a placeholder. But the more we talked about it, the more I'm loving it.
Well, yeah, and I wasn't 100% sure, but she was probably one of the better things that you came up with. That what?
You're like, that was probably one of the better things you.
No. I mean, out of the monsters, you came up with most of the monsters.
You guys are
that we
definitely
looked at.
the villain people.
And monster wise, because I
write
think,
what you know.
I do. Yeah, I do think a lot of monsters are stupid, but the Joragumo was a good one. I like a lot of Japanese monsters. Yeah, the Japanese come cool monsters. So, but all right. So let's outline this stuff and come back together next time with another show.
All right, sounds good.
Hey, thanks for listening. Check us out on Twitter at TheDarkStormyK1 and visit our webpage, thedarkandstormynights.home.blog. Thank you.